Whether you are a beginner or intermediate or expert sports bettor, everybody always has the question of how do odds work in sports betting? And that is exactly what I'm going to answer in this video. My name is Matt Modi. I'm a content producer and betting analyst for OddsJam.com. For those of you watching this, would appreciate it if you could like, comment, and then of course subscribe to my YouTube channel. And also hit me up on social media where I post a bunch of stuff there as well. But the topic of this video, as you could have guessed, we are talking about how odds work. So I have put together this incredibly complex presentation for you. So starting off, we're going to start at the most beginner level way possible, literally talking about what do the numbers mean with odds. So generally, when you see a plus, that equals the underdog. And when you see the minus, that equals the favorite. Now, I took a screenshot here from odds directly from FanDuel. We see a bunch of numbers here. So again, if you see a plus, you can generally associate that with the underdog, minus for the favorite. When you see a minus, the number next to it is how much money you would need to risk in order to profit $100. So the most common thing you'll see in sports betting is like minus 110. That means you need to risk $110 to profit 100. Minus 150, you guessed it, means risk 150 to profit 100. So when you're looking at odds, you can tell immediately the higher the number is, the more you need to risk in order to profit $100, right? That also generally means the bigger the favorite. So the bigger these numbers get in terms of the minus, that means the bigger the favorite. So we see minus 130, minus 134, minus 137, and then we see a minus 240. This minus 240, obviously the team here is the biggest favorite. For the plus, the number that comes next to it is how much you would profit if you risked $100. So plus 110, you risk 100 to profit $110. Plus 125 means you risk 100 to profit 125. And it's the same thing here. The bigger the number equals the bigger the underdog. And one thing that I personally find fascinating about odds in sports betting, and this might only be fascinating to me because I come from a math data background and am somewhat of a math data nerd. Pre-OddsJam, my full-time job, normal job, 9 to 5, was as a data analyst. So I just am interested in math, data, numbers, stuff like that. But all odds have a win percentage associated with it. So essentially when sportsbooks are pricing odds, and we'll get into this, they're essentially just assigning a win percentage. So minus 110 is the most common number you'll see when it comes to odds. That has a win percentage of 52.38. There's an odds converter calculator on the OddsJam website, which is what this screenshot is from. But if you're ever unsure of what odds translate to, you can literally just go to oddsjam.com, go to odds converter calculator, type in the odds in this field here, and it'll give you the probability. This can also be viewed as your break-even percentage. So meaning if you place 1,000 bets and all of them at minus 110 odds, you would need to win 52.38% of your bets in order to break even. Any number that you win above the probability percent, you are profiting. Any number below, you are not profiting. You're losing money. So if you win half your bets at minus 110 odds, you're down. If you win 55%, you're up. And that's kind of how the win percentage stuff works. But for those of you that have been sports betting enough or have attempted to just kind of educate yourself in the topic of sports betting, you've probably heard the term VIG. So if you're unfamiliar or if you just don't know, VIG, or what I like to call the tax, it's essentially a juice that sportsbooks price odds. And really all you need to know about it, it's how they make their money by charging this VIG, by charging the juice. And I will say that you will hear VIG, you'll hear juice. Those mean the same exact thing. So when you hear one, it means the same thing. So there's no difference between the two. But charging the VIG, charging the juice, is literally how sportsbooks make money. And let me provide an example. So I have a March Madness game on the screen here. We see plus 5.5 at minus 110 odds. We see minus 5.5 at minus 110 odds. There's no scenario in which neither of these bets win. One of these bets is going to win and one is going to lose because of the half point. So let's pretend that we have two sports bettors who are on opposite sides of this outcome, right? They both want to profit $100, but they're on opposite sides. So sports bettor number one risks $110 on Furman plus 5.5. They profit $100 if they win, which means the sportsbook will pay them out. In this case, FanDuel will pay them out $210. They'll get their initial risk of $110 back plus their total profit of $100. That's if Furman wins. So total payout, $210. Then there's the opposite side of that. The person risks $110 on Virginia minus 5.5. It's the same exact thing. If Virginia wins, they will profit $100 and they will get a total payout of $210. Obviously, if Virginia loses, then they lose their $110 risk. So if you think about the entire process of this minus plus 5.5 for Furman in UVA, no matter what, the sportsbook accepts $220, right? The 110 on both sides. So 110 on the Furman side and 110 on the Virginia side, $220. But they're only going to pay out $210 to the winner. So the winner, they give their profit of $100 plus their initial risk of $210. Well, that means no matter what happens, the sportsbook, again, FanDuel in this case, is going to profit $10. No matter who wins or loses, FanDuel is going to profit $10 from this interaction. So there's a couple of things to note here. Number one, sportsbooks always are going to try to get 50-50 payout on each side. For this exact example, if they can get it, so no matter who wins, they're paying out 50% of the bets, they are making the money off of this VIG. So that's the first thing. Sportsbooks want a 50-50 payout, and we'll get to that. If they are able to get close to that 50% payout, you start to understand why sportsbooks make as much money as they do, why Caesars can have the Manning family as sponsors, why PointsBet can get Drew Brees, because of this VIG, because you multiply this $10 by hundreds of thousands of zillions of bets, by even more money bet than the $100 risked. And yeah, they make a lot of money. So when you are sports betting, there's always going to be a VIG or a juice. Can also be viewed as the hold on the market. And you can actually calculate the sportsbook's hold on the market. So if we're pretending, again, minus 110 each way, which was the example here, which is the most common you'll see in sports betting, that has a hold or a VIG percentage of 4.76%. Again, OddsJam has a calculator that will literally calculate the percent VIG a sportsbook is charging. So this is screenshot taken directly from oddsjam.com. But you can calculate how much hold a sportsbook has on the market. So the higher this number is, obviously the bigger the hold the sportsbook has. But the most important thing when it comes to sports betting, you want to remove that VIG. When you remove the VIG, you are able to calculate the true line, the fair odds of what a sportsbook truly thinks of a market. Removing that VIG gives you the accurate representation of what that sportsbook thinks of the market. So again, you probably are aware by now, there's a calculator for that on OddsJam. You just type in both sides of the line, minus 110 each way. And what that does is it gives you the fair odds, the true line, which is on the far right here. So minus 110 each way equals plus 100, which equals 50-50. It also gives you the true win percentage, which is this percent here in the middle. So essentially, when a sportsbook has equal amounts of juice on each side, right, the number is the same, whether it's the over or the under. Whenever there is an equal amount of juice on each side, that is always going to be a 50-50 outcome. But if you ever want to calculate what the no VIG odds are, you just go to the no VIG fair odds calculator on OddsJam, type in both sides of the line. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about here is the concept of sportsbooks pricing odds. Essentially, when sportsbooks price odds, what they're doing is they're assigning a win percentage to each side. They're just saying, all right, we think this team has this X% chance of winning or covering, or this total has this % chance of going over or under, or whatever it may be. But they're just assigning a win percentage. They're adding in whatever VIG or juice that they want to charge to the market, and then they convert that to odds. But for you sports bettors that have been sports betting for a decent amount of time, you know that odds can change. Odds can change very rapidly. And there's a couple different factors that will go in to odds changing. Number one, there are outside factors, of course, injuries, weather, anything that is outside of the control of the sportsbook. But the most important thing that goes into odds changing is literally just money. It's supply and demand. As I mentioned, the sportsbooks want a 50-50 payout no matter what outcome happens. When they are able to get close to a 50-50 payout, they make the money via the VIG, via that example I gave you with the college basketball game, right? If they're able to get 50% payout on both Furman and Virginia, they are making 4.76%. They have a 4.76% hold on the market. So when sportsbooks price odds, it's mostly just based on supply and demand. So if money is starting to come in more heavily on one side, the sportsbooks are going to change that odds and hope people start betting the other side. That's generally how sports betting works. It's the stock market. It's supply and demand. And hopefully this video made sense. So we've learned about how odds even work in terms of what the numbers mean. How do sportsbooks calculate odds? Why do odds change? What's the VIG? How to remove it? How to calculate the VIG? All that good stuff. Hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, please comment and let me know. But that's all I got. So remember to like, comment, and subscribe. As I mentioned, hit me up on social media. And that's it. So thank you guys for watching and have a good one.